All right. Fastest 15 minutes on the internet, fastest 15 minutes in social media. My name is Judson Powell. All right. So we talked about the queens yesterday, and we talked about the spiritual significance of the queens, and why you know really you got to put your queen on a pedestal because she's the real protector because she protects you from a spiritual standpoint. See, men, I hate to put y'all out there like this, but we protect on the material plane. So we're always like into war and fighting and all that kind of stuff. But see, they fight on a different level. So they fight on the spiritual level. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that in there because I don't think I put that in there when I was talking yesterday. But anyway, so I want to move on, and I'm staying in the first part of the Bible because I want y'all to just realize what, like, spiritually, how this thing pans out, because it's all spiritual warfare. It really is. It's spiritual warfare. And I know people be talking about it, and your pastor talk about spiritual warfare and all this kind of stuff, but nobody tells you how to fight it or how it, came about, or the origins of spiritual warfare. And the whole thing is, okay, so now we got this whole Adam and Eve thing, supposedly Eve comes out of Adam's rib, blah, 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 blah. And then they have these sons, Cain and Abel, right? So Cain and Abel, that's their procreation, Cain and Abel. And then what happens? Cain does what? He kills Abel, right? So now we have the first murder, okay? Now, what you don't understand is that it wasn't just murder. And it was and even when I used to preach and teach from the Bible, I always used to tell people, like, look what made him do this. And it was a series of things. And these words, remember, words, saying is sowing, as a man thinketh, so is he. When you say something, you put it out there in the universe, and then eventually it manifests, right? And the manifest. Now here's the thing. Remember, I always talk about there's an equal or opposite reaction or repercussion or consequence or whatever. The consequences are not always the same as what you did, right? Okay, so now, with that being said, what led up to the first murder in the Bible, or the first murder in the world? The first murder in the world, why? Why is it there? Because there were things that were going on, and they were put spiritually into the scriptures. So what did you have? You had fear, you had jealousy, you had envy, you had in fact, I wrote a book. It was called The Power of 10. I wrote a book that was like, I don't know, that probably was like almost 10 or 15 years ago when I wrote the book, and I was trying to get my doctorate, right, in theology. And so when I wrote this book, and I was and that's one of the things that woke, and by the way, that's also one of the things that woke me up. And so while I was doing this, I was thinking to myself, I was like, well, most of the stuff in the world are based on these negative spiritual principles. Okay, for example, like this was in the book. For example, envy. Everything, like most of the media, everything, media practitioners, people that practice stuff in the media or whatever, everything is basically based upon envy and jealousy. Okay, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to make you envious of everybody else. All right, they're trying to make you envy something. They're trying to, why do you think like these influencers and all these different people, and they put on something, and then why? Because they want you to envy them, and then they want you to go and copy or purchase whatever it is that they do, right? And that's basically what it's based on. So the whole thing, and remember, even God in the scriptures, what does he say? I'm a jealous God. They're quote unquote. So now, why would the creator of the universe be jealous? Which is, and by the way, I got to give credit to Oprah Winfrey for actually bringing that out one time. But it's true. She said that's what made her stop being a Christian, was the fact that she read the Bible and it said, I'm a jealous God. And she was like, well, why would God be jealous? You know, what is the man that created the entire universe or the woman that created the entire universe? Why? What place does jealousy have in their lives, period? So these are negative emotions that are being planted. Yeah, do they exist? Are they part of our netter? Yes. But nothing is ever said in this creation story or down the line about anything. Everything is negative. And most of it, unfortunately, is negative against the woman. Once again, I'll repeat, when God came looking for Adam, he said, what happened? Why did you eat the apple? He said, because it was that woman that you gave me. Instead of doing what the real deal is, because remember, the man in the physical plane, right? He's the protector in the physical plane, and the woman is the protector in the spiritual plane. All right? So why would he throw his wife under the bus? Because everything, like the buck stops here, everything is supposed to stop with the man in the physical plane. He's not supposed to let anybody, because what? You're not supposed to let anybody touch that queen, because if they get the queen, then what happens? Chess. Let's go back to chess again. If they get the queen, you're probably not going to win the game. In fact, you probably go. What I know about playing chess, if somebody gets your queen like right off the bat, you probably don't have much of a chance. So here we go. So we got all of this stuff, and this is spiritual warfare. All of this stuff is being set up to get you. Fear, jealousy, envy, all of these negative emotions. That's why I tell you, you cannot be emotional, that you have got to be practical. You can allow your woman to be emotional, but when she's emotional, she should be emotional to you and tell you spiritually why she's emotional. See, when women get upset, they've been told something by the Most High. And that's why they're upset. Or you have tried to touch something or try to do something to something that is a part of her spiritually. Her children, like you mess with a woman. Why do you think, even in the animal kingdom, if you mess, you're not going to go and mess with a bunch of bear cubs and the mama ain't going to go off on you. Then she's going to bring it down to the physical plane. All right? So think about it. So the first murder takes place because of fear, jealousy, and envy. I got this offering. And then the Lord tells one guy, I don't like your offering. And he tells the other one, your offering is cool. And then he tells him, but if you do well later on, you can be redeemed. And then he's so jealous and he's so envious of Abel, Cain is, that he just goes and he decides, I'm going to take him out. Now, what happens to Cain, which is to one of my other points, the point of the universal law of grace. Why? Because he kills Cain. Okay, yeah, he sets him out, but he don't lock him in no jail cell. He don't put he don't do nothing to it. He just say, all right, go out. And then Cain just leaves that land and goes to another land and marries a woman. I don't know where that, and another fallacy in the Bible. I don't know where that woman came from, because all I knew was that there was two boys and mommy and daddy. So he goes somewhere else. So apparently there was some more creationism going on someplace else that we didn't know about. Think. I'm just telling you, think. Don't be critical of it. Just think. All right. Does it sound logical to you? Does that sound logical? And just because the Most High liked one person's offering better than they liked the other person's offering, you kill somebody. So we know that it's a spiritual thing. It's got to be, because there's not enough there. And then after that, so now this murder takes place, and then after that, murder just breaks out everywhere. And then it's even sanctioned by, according to the Bible, it's sanctioned by the Most High. It's sanctioned by the Most High. Because then the next thing is what? Then he says, I'm going to give you, by the time we get down to a certain point, all of a sudden when Moses shows up, then it's like, okay, we messed up. So now we're going to make some laws. We're going to tell people, don't kill people, don't steal, don't bear false witness, don't covet, don't envy, don't do all this stuff. So all of these negative traits and everything, we're told, don't do that. And we're told what? We're told that if we do, that it's sin. And that is the major downfall of man. But it's not really sin. It's just being on the opposite end of what? The law of correspondence and the law of polarity. Universal law of correspondence and universal law of polarity. That's all it is. It's on the opposite end, because just like you can be happy, you can be sad. Just like you can do. But the thing about the Bible is the Bible doesn't tell us about these universal laws. It doesn't tell us about the universal law of grace. That's why Cain was able to get away with it. No pun intended. Cain, I'm not even going to go there. All right, so now we got all of this stuff and we got all of these laws and everything set up. And then all of a sudden, right, God comes along and he says, well, I'm going to give you this promised land, but in order to get this promised land, I want you to kill everybody because all of this stuff is yours. So this is where the idea of white supremacy begins, or the idea of supremacy over anybody, because these people are living in their land. And then according to them, the Most High tells them to go and to start killing these people and taking over this land, and that these 12 tribes are going to take over a space of land, right? And there's this this promised land, and we're going to take over this land because the Most High told us. So I got one question for you. What kind of God would tell you to go in? So juxtapose this to Native Americans. They're here. All of a sudden, here come the Pilgrims and Columbus and all these people, right? And then they just start killing them. Why? Because they believe that it is justified through the scriptures. Spiritual warfare. Because you are now able to believe that something that even the scriptures themselves call sin, but you are able to justify it in your mind because it is written. So now they go and they kill off like tribe after tribe after tribe. I mean, that's all like the Old Testament, the beginning of the Old Testament, the Torah. That's all it's talking about. They're killing folks, trying to get to the promised land. And then the other fallacy is it took them 40 years to go like 20 miles. So y'all should have known something was up with that. Y'all should have known that something was up with that when you realize that, hey, from Egypt to where they ended up was like 20 miles. So, I mean, it was, I'm looking at my son, but it literally, it was 20 miles, like 20. Okay, let's say it was 100 miles. But anyway, it should not take you, even if you walk a mile a day, it ain't going to take you 40 years to get there. All right. But this is spiritual warfare, because what did it do? It planted mental seeds that could manifest. And it then later on throughout history, people use this concept and are still using this concept to fight other people. Does that seem like the Most High to you? So somebody is sitting there sovereign in a land. They're peaceful. They're not bothering anybody. They're sitting there with their families, doing whatever they got to do. And then all of a sudden, here come these people and start murdering them and raping them too. That was also condemned. By the way, that was condoned at the beginning of the Bible. Rape, murder, all of that. Anyway, 15 minutes is up. I'll be back. Anyway, hit the subscribe button, hit the what is it, the notification button, hit all the buttons, and most of all, hit the love button. I love you all.